Hey guys, it's Adam. I hope you're doing lovely today, and welcome back to Do You Watch Anime, where I sit down with a guest and ask them, do you watch anime? And we go from there. And today, joining me is voice actor. They play such roles as Ray Taylor from My Love is a Villainess, and I'm in love with a Villainess. There we go. And
there it is.
There it is. And Aoi in Laid Back Camp. Hannah Alyea, there we go. How are you today?
It's all good. I'm great,
Perfect.
You got it all out there, and that's all that matters. So anybody who gives you a hard time is going to have to talk to me first.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show. So, do you watch anime?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I've watched anime for a very long time.
Heck yeah. So, how did you originally get into anime?
I first kind of got into it from an ex-partner, and they had showed me Naruto, I think, is like the big one that hooked me anyways.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I watched like Pokemon. My biggest one when I was younger was Metabots.
Oh my god!
I know everyone's about like Digimon in this,
Yes.
but Metabots was my jam, man.
my partner still brings that up to this day, and I'm like, it sounds like a fever dream. And like whenever like we see cosplays of like Metabeat, oh my god, incredible.
Well, and you can't get the second season anywhere, and that's the best one.
Yeah.
So like, it makes me so mad that there's nothing to it, and there's almost no merch except I went to Japan a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, and I found little figurines of almost all of them, and so I have them. They're in the other room, but it's
goodness.
like, yes, I was so happy. Found them secondhand in Akihabara. But
Wow.
Metabots was probably like the big one that kind of sparked it, but I didn't really, it was just a show to me. It wasn't just like, oh my god, anime. And then Naruto was the one that kind of first got me into what binging is all about. Having to go to certain websites to watch it, because for those of you who are under the age of 30, anime was not as readily available to a lot of us. You could not leave your ad blocker on there. And so I watched that all the way through. Got me through the breakup of that original relationship.
Okay.
And then I moved on to One Piece. And
boy.
I did it. I'm caught up to the Wano arc right now, and
Okay.
I'm waiting for my current partner to catch up, and then we're going to watch it together. But I think Naruto was that was the one where I was like, oh, okay, that's what this is about.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that. So, what's your favorite thing about One Piece, if I may ask?
I love the silliness. I like the change of tonal beats in One Piece. So you can have Luffy who's bouncing around silly all over the place, and then you have scenes that you're legitimately crying about, and you're like, it's just a stretchy man. Why am I crying? I just think it's one of those that's still so over the top, but is still so heartfelt. And as a crazy being who will do anything for their friends, and is a gremlin in real life, I love Luffy. Luffy is my soul. The man knows food, and I feel that. So that's kind of what keeps me to it, honestly. It's a traditional serial anime, like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where it is a long serial running show. But for One Piece, it's, for being so everywhere, it also gets very real, and I really like that.
Yeah, I have, unfortunately I'm wearing long sleeves right now, but I have Robin's, I Want to Live tattooed on me. That is my favorite scene of the entire series, and I cry every single time. Doesn't matter how many times I watch it.
I'm telling you, I went through the other scene where Luffy tries to go rescue a certain somebody, and everyone else comes, and shit happens. And I was in the middle of finals at the time in college, and the only way I could write this paper is I would write for 30 minutes and then watch an episode. and then write 30 minutes and then write another episode. It was the only way I could get myself to keep writing because it was so boring.
Yeah.
Was going, okay, but I am right here in the middle of this arc, and then, I'm upstairs in this corner far away in this, like, college center, like, in tears. And I'm like, what the fuck is up with them? And I was like, don't leave me alone, I'm writing a paper.
That was kind of how I treated Inuyasha, where it was like, okay, I'm going to work on this for a set amount of time, and then we're going to watch 2 episodes, and then, finally get through it and not hate it because it's playing instead of Dragon Ball.
Look, I respect those who love Dragon Ball and have watched Dragon Ball, and I think Dragon Ball is a big reason why anime is so popular today, because a lot of
100%.
people, this like generation who's now kind of inheriting parenthood, were raised on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I never watched Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I was never brought up with it. I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Okay,
Laughed my ass off.
Of
It was
course.
great.
It's the best.
But I think I missed that train. Like, I'm all for it. I am here for the fans for it. But it was never a part of my life. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just a tiny little, child boy being like, I just like them fighting. I like it when they scream for 5 episodes. It really pumps me up. And then Inuyasha would come on, and I'm like, I hate this because it's not Dragon Ball.
they're not yelling.
Exactly.
What's going on?
Yeah. Why is the dog boy so pretty? So, how did you originally get into like acting in general?
So I always laugh at this one because I knew since I was very little I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
As soon as I realized I couldn't be Crocodile Hunter, I was like, fine, then I will be an actor.
Yeah.
And so from very young, I loved theater. I loved acting. I was homeschooled actually all the way up and through high school, but I did dual enroll in a high school just so I could do theater. I went up to my mom and decided to be over the top dramatic and all over the place for that specific day. Like, just annoying. Think of the, Stewie in Family Guy. Mum, mummy, mum, mum, mum. That was me for the day. And then all of a sudden I just sat for a second and went, okay, Mom, you have 2 years of this, or you dual enroll me in a high school so that I can do theater. So that day we signed up for theater, and and so I did a lot of stage theater in high school. I did some in college, and I became what I call a failed adult. I tried to leave theater and be like, I don't think it's going to pay the bills. I don't think it's going to pay my loans. Became a flight attendant instead, which was my adult job. And then I was like, wow, I really missed acting. And so that's when I ended up, the pandemic helped with the whole push of, making that a concrete decision. But that's when I found voice acting, because I was like, okay, well, as I'm a flight attendant and I'm gone all the time, I can't really do stage theater. Film is a little tricky. Like, what can I do while I'm traveling? And that's when I landed on voiceover, because I could take a rig with me. I could connect as long as I had internet. I could do that. And so that's how I kind of fell into the voice acting itself. Not to mention, voice actors are some of the most genuine people you will meet. There are always rotten apples in the bunch. I will be the first to say that. Just because someone labels themselves as a voice actor does not mean that they are a wonderful human being. But generally speaking, they are some of the most humble, hardworking, just creative people that I know. And for those who are theater people, they're like the techies of the voiceover world. Like, they just are there because they love the craft. And as a 5'2", very curvy individual who was like, wow, there may not be as many stage prospects because of the way I look, really enjoyed the thought of voice acting. So I've loved it ever since. And if if you're not a good person or you're an asshole or someone doesn't like to work with you, they won't, because it's not about the looks. So that kind of helps keep some people humble, which is kind of nice. Because if you're not good to work with, they don't have to work with you and they'll find someone else to do the job.
Yeah.
But generally, people are so kind and caring, and the community is wonderful. And so that's where I like fell into the niche of voice acting. Because I was like, how do I act while I travel instead of just driving my passengers insane? And that's kind of what I did, which also gave me the fun ability to take classes all over the country before a lot of it was remote because of the pandemic. So there was even a time, like a 13-week span of time, where I would, on each Sunday, I would take the first flight out from Minneapolis, Minnesota to LA, and I would take an Uber down to West Hollywood, and I would take a voiceover class, and then when it was done, I would take an Uber back to the airport, take the red eye, which is the flight that goes all the way through the night, back to Minneapolis, and then go back to my work week for 13 weeks straight. So that was... God, it was crazy.
God damn.
Now I think about that, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work.
That is insane.
But it gave me the ability to work with people that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to do at the time. Now you can hop online to so many wonderful like teachers and instructors and coaches, which is amazing. But I had my own little little way of being able to do that beforehand. So long story long, that I've always been an actor. I've always loved acting, and voice acting is just something I kind of fell into or I found. Yeah,
I love that. Oh my god, I cannot. That is the stretch of 13 weeks. That's insane. Kudos. I would be way too tired. I would be. How are you? Were you a zombie during that 13 weeks, or was it just like, of course, yeah?
No, I was in my early 20s, baby.
Okay,
like it was great. I had energy for days.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yes, I was tired, but that's just from the normal work week, if you want to call it. Flight attendant schedules are very different from an everyday job. But I mean, sure, I was tired, but I could sleep on the plane, so it was all good.
True. So I recently picked up Laid Back Camp. And that is just the comfiest show I have ever watched. Like,
it's so good. Like, I like to describe to people, if you could have an anime that was lo-fi, that's Laid Back Camp.
Exactly. Like, you actually kind of answered my question, because I was like, how do you pitch people Laid Back Camp? Because I'm just like, everyone needs to watch this.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
It's like therapy.
It really is, but it also has some great writing. There's some fantastic comical moments that I am just laughing out loud.
Yeah.
These are gremlin little children going out and camping for fun while it's cold, which is nothing. I would never do that. I hate the cold.
Nope.
Born and bred in the Midwest, never got the thick skin. I hate the cold. I don't do well in the cold. So Texas suits me a little bit better in the weather aspect. But Laid Back's great. I love it. And if you've ever, they have the soundtrack on like Spotify or whatever and other platforms. And the background music is some of my favorite, because it's so goofy and weird. Like, a lot of it is calming, but you'll get to some of these tracks that have like a bike like bell and horn and kazoos, and it's just I love it. And all of the cast are fantastic. Like you I'm biased, but I think it's a fantastic show.
It is. Yeah, it's I literally, because I started watching it because, like, I need something new. I need something to kind of just chill to, kind of, you know, I don't want to, like, be on the edge of my seat and, like, every show I watch. And I put it on and I went, oh my God, this is just, it makes me feel so good.
But you have to eat before you watch it, because otherwise you get so hungry because they make so much food in the show. It's always almost always on Crunchyroll when you go to watch it. There's some cheeky person who sometimes names the list of like shows to recommend, and it's almost always under "Go Touch Grass."
Yeah.
I love her, and I get to play Allie, who's just the snaggletooth little liar.
Yeah.
And I love her.
Yeah. So how, I was just about to ask, how is voicing Aoi, because she is such a character.
I love it. She was
Yeah.
actually my first name role in an anime.
Wow.
I don't know what Jade Saxton was thinking, trusting such a show to a newbie into the anime area, but I am forever grateful. I love her.
Yeah.
She's just a little higher pitched in my voice.
Yeah.
Normally, for those who are listening, I am very much in my man voice right now. Allergies and I don't know what else have been ravaging my voice, and I can't get any higher than this. And it's
Yeah.
as a voice actor,
The pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a session today for Laid Back Camp, and I went in there because Sean Gann is now directing.
Yeah.
He's been directing the second season and now the third season. And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what is going on. I feel fine, but my voice just decided, I don't know, to take another vacation after it just had one, and it's
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness.
apologies for a bit of the man voice.
All good.
Or you're like, that person doesn't sound like that character.
Yeah.
It's because I don't right now.
Yeah.
My voice is not great. So I'm going to sit here and sip on my tea and have my water. And I've got my Ricolas ready, and it'll be great. But I love her. She's great.
Yeah.
She's a little gremlin. At first, you think she's just a cutesy little, whatever, high
Yeah.
school student. And as you go along, you find out that she's kind of a fibbing little gremlin, and her little sister is just like her. And as you get into the third season, you find out her whole family is the same. It is genetic. So I love it. She's great. The little snaggletooth lovely. I've got my little shrine of her all up there on my
love
shelf.
it.
So we love her.
Yeah, I love it. Please, everyone should watch Layback Camp just to, and even it's just like the backgrounds, everything. It's just so lovely.
It's so pretty.
It
It's so
is.
pretty to look at. It's so pretty to listen to, and it's a good time. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
It's called Laid Back
Yeah,
Camp for a reason.
Yeah.
If you need a good palate cleanser in between, or you're just tired of a lot of shonen, because you get on a binge and you're like, okay, I need a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Like, it's a real good one. If you like A Place Farther Than the Universe,
One of my
Laid Back
favorite
Camp is in
anime.
the
Oh
same
my God.
kind of vein as that. Maybe
Yeah.
a little less story driven, but there are a lot of very similar moments of just this grandeur in nature that is so lovely.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And
And
I
it
think-
stars an introvert. So,
Yeah.
come on.
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah. And I think that's why I like attach to it the most, is because it reminds me of A Place Further Than the Universe in that kind of sense. And I'm just like, that's again one of my favorite anime of all time, and I'm just like, I needed this.
Yes.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Patreon shoutout portion of the podcast, where I give my patrons a lovely shout out weekly. So thank you to Buff Boy, Blythe, Mikey, Bunny, Geo, and Keith. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It means the world to me. And if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, it will be linked down below. You get a bunch of BTS, exclusive videos, and the podcast a day early. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support. It helps keep the show going. Subscribe down below, and back to the episode. So you play Taylor in I'm in Love with the Villainess. And that last year was one of my favorite anime of the year, bar none.
Me too.
Yeah.
Again, a biased perspective.
Yeah.
But I love. It's such a good show.
It's such a good show. We watched it like week to week, like weekly. Like every episode, we were like, just give more, please.
Yes. Hashtag season 2, please.
Yes, please. Oh my goodness. What was your favorite part about playing Ray?
There are a couple things about Ray that is my favorite, because this was definitely one of those shows that you don't get very often.
No.
I saw the lineup for, the season, and I was like, I'm in love with the villainess. Great. Another villainous isekai show. Okay, whatever. And, kind of kept going to see what was in the season. And then the auditions went out. Had a lot of fun with them, but I was also in the middle of moving, so I just did them and then sent them in. And, read for Ray, and I was like, okay, this sounds kind of similar to me. Like, I'm just going to have fun. Like, I don't care. Like, it's whatever. And then got the email while I was video chatting with my partner at the time, because he's Canadian and he was in Canada. Hey! And so he's here now, but we were video chatting, and I got the email while I was on video chat. And I sat there and I looked at this email and I was like, and he's like, what? I was like, because I can't really say anything because it's under NDA. Well, I had talked about this audition like an hour previous. I was like, hey, remember that audition I was talking about that I had a lot of fun with? And I'm like, I'm freaking out. I was like, hey, because it was my second lead in a row. I had done Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence right before that. That was my first lead in an anime. And so to have two in a row, I was like, what? Are you sure?
Yeah.
So I went into the show kind of blind at first. I was like, I'm so excited because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be another fun season of a voice actor getting to do what they love, right? But I started to dive into the story because I wanted to know who this character was, whether or not it was, a surface level isekai or not. Like, I want to be able to put my best foot forward.
Of course.
And I started reading the story, and I was like, what is this? This is not what I was expecting it to be. No. I thought this was just a little comedy, lighthearted, like, I'm going to be the best in the world kind of a situation. And it turned out to be this very dynamic, very heartfelt story. And as an actor, I got to express all of the emotions. Like, don't get me wrong, this comes from a place where I love anime. Anime, like I've said, I've been watching anime for years and years and years and years. You get to that point where a lot of characters can be very surface level, especially for these like one season things. You're like, yes, it's the protagonist, which is still fun to play. Yeah. But I did not expect that I was going to be able to flesh out this character as well as I was able to in a single season. We had comedy out the wazoo, which is my favorite. Yes. And Emily Fajardo, who is the director, was just so wonderful. She had the light novel and the manga stacked up there with a bunch of little sticky notes in there. So that way, if we needed to rewrite a line or something, she's like, let's see what the light novel said. And she would pull it open, and we would look in there and go off of the light novel or the manga to then rewrite something because she wanted it to be that true. And so we're in there, and she, is really good at giving a lot of agency as an actor. So I even got to help write some of those lines that went in there. So, if you're going to step on me harder, put your money where your mouth, or put your foot where your mouth is. I got to write that line.
Oh my God.
There was a lot of little one-liners that I felt like I could participate in. And, it was a lot of fun. So I got to do comedy, which is my jam. I am a gremlin in real life. And I got to do excitement, sadness, heartbreak, anger, determination. I got a Dragon Ball-esque scream in the last episode. The show had it all. So as an actor, I was like, oh my God, I am just, yum, 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 yum. I'm just eating. This is amazing. But generally speaking, Ray is one of those characters that is so similar to who I am as a person that I didn't even need to try. It was just me going into the booth, just being like, like I normally am in my life. And so she means a lot to me. Mind you, I am not Ray. Ray is not me. There is a distinction there. But to have someone that is so similar in personality was so cool, and you don't really get that all that often. So it was like lightning in a bottle. The entire show was like the whole cast, the crew, the story.
Yeah.
We even did a charity stream with some of the English voice actors for I'm in Love with the Villainess, and the author Inori Sensei came into chat.
Oh my god.
And like left us such a heartfelt message. And so like to even get response from the original creator of the show was like, this is something special.
Yeah, that's
so there are
crazy.
so many things, so many reasons why I love this show and why I love Ray Taylor. But it's one of those that you really should not judge by the title or what you think it is. Watch. I normally say 3 episodes. And that was always my rule when starting a new show. Is like, I give it 3 episodes, and if I don't like it by then, I'm not going to pick it up. Give it 4.
Yeah.
Give it 4. The 3 episodes are great.
Yeah.
But Ray comes off very strong. And you're like, Ray, consent is a thing. You should probably tone it down just a little bit there. But it's really after episode 3, and we start moving into 4, is kind of where she settles in a little bit there, and you really get into a lot of meaty things, some real things that I did not. I mean, I was reading the manga, and I think it was volume 4, where they start, it's the whole debacle with the commoners versus the nobles and all of that. And I'm sitting there, my roommate's on the other side, and he's reading Solo Leveling, and he's laughing, which is weird because it's a very dark anime. And I'm sitting up here going, I thought this was a comedy. Wasn't this supposed to be a comedy?
Yeah.
I feel like we flip-flopped series because shouldn't you be in a serious matter and I should be the one laughing? So it's a fantastic show. It is so good. And if you have not watched it, please do.
Please.
So much love and care went into that show, and it is just phenomenal. Almost the entire cast. I believe all the cast and crew, except for the main script writer, is LGBTQIA+.
Hell yeah. We love that.
So, like, the engineer, the director, the actors, it was all full of rainbows up in there.
Yeah.
So it was so cool. It was so much fun, and I miss it so much, which is why it's #season 2, please.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I am very long-winded in some of these answers.
Oh,
but
good.
It's, watch it, do it.
Yes,
Ray Taylor's
absolutely.
wonderful. Ray Taylor, Gremlin, Gremlin equals happy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about I'm in Love with a Villainess is the comedy, and Ray's little like voice mannerisms where she's like, there were some parts where we had to rewind and be like, did she just make that noise? Like,
there were times I would do that, and I'd look at Emily and be like, I know I did that. Did I really just do that? I know there was one time where, I think it's the first episode, where she's sitting at the table and Claire's like, you're going to leave the school. You're going to make this bet with me so you can leave the school.
Yeah.
And they finally come up and she just goes, yippee. I would do it now, but vocally I cannot.
Yep.
And so we do a first pass of that. And Emily goes, I was going to rewrite that because I didn't think that was going to fit. And now I don't want to because it just fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go. Wonderful. Again, I could throw all of my personal mannerisms all over the place in there.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh my God, it's so goofy. It's so silly. I'm like, it's my everyday life. Ha ha ha. Joke's on you.
Yeah. And it's the one, the one that always got me was when she said Claire, like on Claire. And I was like,
yeah. I said I need to get a counter of how many times she says Miss Claire.
yeah, straight up.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I would love to know the number. I'd love to see a counter. If anyone likes to edit videos for fun,
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
There's your next assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I don't have TikTok. Now, mind you, it's not because I'm like about TikTok.
Yeah.
It's more of I know I will get addicted to it. And
Yeah.
so I refuse to open that can of worms. So
Valid.
I just stick on Instagram Reels instead. And there were so many people going, oh my God, the show is blowing up on TikTok. And I was like, really? Is it? I don't know. So I'd have people send me TikToks and I'm like, oh my God, there's like 200,000 views on that thing. Oh my God.
Especially, it works better while you're holding the teacup as well. You're like, oh, wow.
Okay, but my favorite line from that is not
Yeah.
even a line that Ray says. I died laughing at this. It's what, like the end of the 10th or 11th episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Minaria and Claire are getting all like close. And she's like, ah, she's freaking out. She's like shaking. She's trying to pour tea and all of that. And Thane and you are there. And she's like, you want more tea? They're like, yeah, actually, it'd be great. And they're like, that's actually the creamer. She goes, ah, shit, okay. She grabs the tea and she starts pouring, and she's just focused so much on them that the teacup is overflowing. And Thane just, Oscar, I love Oscar. His delivery was great. He just looks over and goes, should I have said when? Because it's overflowing. And I heard that for the first time, and I just busted out laughing.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop for the longest time. And so I'm like, look, there's so many lines that Ray
Yeah.
says that are my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite line in the show is Thane going, should I have said when?
Oh my
It
God.
it kills me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my
He's
God.
so detached. He's
It's-
such a
yeah.
great little bean.
He is. He's just, I just want to protect him at all costs.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. All of them. I want to
Yeah.
protect them all. Especially Rod. I fucking love Rod. I love Rod so much.
Yeah.
And putting his freaking leg up on the table during the maid scene. It's just
So good. So, like,
it's
like,
so great.
yeah. Because I have a friend who's just like him and would do the exact same thing. So I'm like, that's
you.
That's you. I see that.
There's you.
But yeah, all the characters in that show are like fantastic. Like, some you may hate. But
You may
all
hate,
of
but they are very appropriate for the story.
Yep.
One that I always kept calling Marinara, but that's not their name.
Oh, now we're gonna call them Marinara now.
You're welcome.
Yep. But yeah,
Little Marinara.
every character is fantastic. I just and they're just.
Have you read the light novel or the manga at all yet?
I haven't yet.
It gets so good.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you saw the flashbacks at the
Yes.
very end of season 1,
Yeah.
but it gets
Ooh.
real good.
Yeah,
real
we-
good. I know the synopsis of like the little summary
Yeah.
of the entire light novel because I
Okay.
wanted to kind of know, but I don't know all the nitty gritty in between because I'm just a little dyslexic individual and I need my pictures to read my stories.
Yep. All good.
So I wait for the manga to release, and it's real good.
Yeah.
I do recommend. So those of you who are like, man, that anime was really good, and you've not read the story,
Yep. Pick up.
I do recommend picking it up. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. I've not heard bad thing. Because I also was like, ugh, another villainess anime. Here we go, right? Because that's been the trend for the past like year and a half, 2 years, and then we saw the trailer, and I was like, uh-oh.
I'm gonna like this.
Uh-oh. And then we always watch an English dub because we just prefer it that way.
Hey,
and
we appreciate those
yeah,
who watch English dubs.
of
I'm
course.
a sub watcher too
yeah.
every once in a
Oh
while.
yeah, same here.
But wait, we appreciate them dub watchers. I wouldn't have a job if y'all didn't do that.
Exactly. So and then we saw the cast and we were like, oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, this is gonna be real good. And then episode 1, we're like, oh no, this is really good. Like this is a show that I'll show people that like are dub haters. That like this is so good.
The highest compliments were
Yeah.
so many people going, I'm usually a sub watcher,
Yeah.
but this dub is actually really good. Or
Yeah.
I actually prefer the dub. And we're like, oh, we got another one, boys. And like for those who are in the same vein, it also kind of gives off Oran vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
Like there are like Oran flavors here and there that it just makes my soul happy.
Yeah. Makes my soul happy. So moving to anime that you like, what are some of your favorite anime?
My favorite anime is one that not a lot of people know, and it doesn't have an English dub, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's called From the New World. It was released in 2012, and it is like a post-apocalyptic thriller / horror / mystery, but it's not your typical, like, it's not like Metallic Rouge where it's like,
Okay, yeah.
you know, cyberpunk-esque. It actually goes back to like rural, so there's a lot of like Japanese culture of like Shintoism and things like that are really pulled into the story. The music, the animation, and the just the writing, it's very, very good. It's one of my favorites. So if you like the darker stuff, it's so good.
Yeah.
But I also, I mean, it kind of fluctuates. Like, my viewing of anime has shifted over the years because I used to watch it just for me, for my entertainment purposes. And now it shifts because I'm like, ooh, my friend's in this one. I'm going to watch this one. And I'll watch the dubs because I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Kaiju number 8 is great. That's one that we're keeping
so
up with
good.
right now.
Yeah, same
it's
here.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch Laid Back Camp if I were not in it or not. Same with I'm in Love with the Villainess, but those are just biased opinions. Trying to think on my list. Fruits Baskets,
Heck
Full
yeah,
Metal
we got-
Alchemist,
Yep. Let's go.
Moron High School Host Club.
Yep.
They're all fantastic. I mean, I come from a very specific generation of anime.
Yep.
One Piece, Naruto. I mean, a big circle moment, like full circle moment, was, you know, watching One Piece way back in, what was it, 2012?
Okay.
2013? Something like that. And then 2021, I walk into Crunchyroll and have my first One Piece walla. And it was like, oh my God. I get to be in One Piece. It's not big, and that's okay, but like, I get to be in One Piece.
Oh my God.
And I get to be this little old lady in the Wano arc.
Yeah.
And she's just a little old grandma, and she's waiting for the samurai. And I love it. And it was so cool. And then she came back and was like, my little old grandma. But it was so cool. So I have a lot. Here I go off on tangents all over the place that make no sense. Hashtag ADHD.
Heck yeah, that's it.
Let's go. But yeah, Fruits Baskets, Full Metal Alchemist, From the New World. If you want something that's not the norm, and tell me what you like of it because I need more people to know about it because it's really good.
Yeah.
Kaiju number 8 this season. I loved Sugar Apple Fairy Tale.
Yes. That
was
so
good. It was so good. It was so pretty. And I'm sitting here going, I would kill to be in that show, but I don't care if I am or not because it's really pretty and I love it. And there's so many of my friends in it, and it just makes me love the show even more.
Yeah.
But the art in that is
it's
gorgeous.
It was one of the prettiest shows of 2023. I had barely heard of it, and then we kind of binged the first half, and I was like, oh, this is so
pretty.
good. It's
so pretty.
So pretty.
I love that show.
Yeah.
It is so good, and it was the dub was cast so perfectly,
100%.
so wonderfully.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. The the intro to season 2 really tricked me because I was like, if you become a harem, I will light a fire. Like,
I was like, no, you're supposed to be something different.
yes. I was like, please don't do this to me.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
No, that was.
It came out of nowhere,
so
and I was
good.
like, where have you been all my life? Like,
Yup, I love that. And then, I guess I'm going more recently because this is what I remember.
yeah.
Luke, my memory's not as good as it used to be. I really liked this one. Didn't get a dub either, and we're like, but it's like the 7th time loop Princess something or other. I don't remember the full name, but it's like this girl who gets reincarnated every time she dies, and she lives the same life, like from this same point every single time. It's like once she dies, she reloads, and so she does different paths in her life every single time.
Okay.
And she's like, screw this, I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm gonna be a merchant. Cool. Because she was a noble.
I think I heard of that one, actually.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was a strong female character that didn't need a man to save her, but there was still romance elements in it.
We love
and
that.
So it was so good. I really, really enjoyed that one. Yamada-kun level 9099.
Oh my god.
So freaking
So
good. It is
my
so
God.
good.
Both dub and sub were so good.
I never watched the dub because
Yeah.
I watched the sub entirely first.
Yeah, same here. We watched the sub first and then did the dub, and we were like, this is just so good. And like, it's about adults.
Thank you. And that's the cool thing. I think that's why I really like Kaiju number 8 too.
Yeah.
Is that yes, it's shonen-esque in its like action, and it's like we're gonna go beat Kaiju. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But Kafka is 32 years old. An adult.
Yeah.
I like that because now for me, who I'm in my 30s, I can relate.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, my back. And I'm like, me too, Kafka, me too.
Yeah.
Mind you, I know it's still 30 years young, but, going through, multiple once in a lifetime events feels like, you kind of age a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little.
Just a bit.
So I love that they were adults.
Yeah, they were adults. They were playing video games. Yes.
Yes.
Give it to me. And that. Oh my god, and
it was just good romance, and they got together in the end. They kissed. Yep. They got together. It wasn't this loop around and never have a conclusion. Like they. Those were words. Those were English words that were cohesive.
Yeah. I'm used to that. The rent-a-girlfriend problem of never getting together with anyone.
I was in Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, and it was a really cute show. It was actually way cuter than I ever thought it was going to be, and I really enjoyed it. Ooh, kitty.
Yeah.
He's a little kitty. For those who are listening, we now have a cat tail in our view.
Yeah.
A real cat tail. None of this
a real
dungeon meshy cat tail that you can't eat. I mean, you still shouldn't eat this tail, but
no,
but it's a real one. But and now I got on a tangent. I was like, now I got distracted by my cat tail. But the show itself was very cute. It was very pastel. It was just adorable. It was freaking cute. But it was a lot of roundabout, and it was just like circles and circles, and you're like, and the end was cute, but they didn't like really get together, and I was like, and that was,
I
was like, okay, that's fine, I guess.
It's fine. It's whatever. It's
fine. So when the confession scene of Yamada-kun came in, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. I love this.
The ending scene, like one of the ending scenes of the last episode where he's like, I like your molars, they're cute. And that one lady is just like I was like, is that smooth? Is that... I was just like...
One of my favorites, I don't remember his name, but he was the older gentleman who had the van.
Oh, yeah, the strawberry
He was
guy.
my favorite. I loved him so much.
Cute.
I loved him. He was great.
Yeah, and he was just oh my god. And especially in the dub, he was kind of the same kind of oh no, like we gotta help.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. The one scene where I forget her name, the little one.
Yeah.
She sets up what's Akane and to get, with the person, and I'm like, little miss, I'm gonna throw you in a fire.
You need to stop that right now.
Yeah.
They're adults.
Yeah.
They will figure it out, and you need to stop. You need to cut that out right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come right over there.
Yeah. Stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part about Fruits Basket? Because that's like my favorite.
Besides
anime.
the trauma.
Yeah. Besides the trauma.
I like that again, it pulls on real emotion in real situations. And even though, it's very magical, it's, these people are turning into animals. Like, that's not realistic. Some of the stuff they deal with is so real that it reminds you why anime can be so good sometimes. And, it's not just a silly cartoon or whatever. It's a tangible story that really moves you. The amount of times you cry in that show while watching it, because it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. And, there's a conclusion at the end as well, a very satisfying conclusion.
Very.
That it is just so well-rounded and just wonderful. And it's heartwarming and it's hopeful. And it's a really good fleshed out story.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way around it. It is just a really good story. And although it has its, trope anime moments of like little chibi like running around and yelling or whatever, it's still so good. And the plot twists that the author kind of put in there were so well thought out. And the more you watch it, the more you pick up on those little notes, those little hints as you go through. And it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So my partner had read the manga before and known the ending before we watched the remake. I had never heard of this in my life. And every big moment, she was just like this, just watching my reaction.
I did the same thing because my roommate hadn't watched it, and I was like,
Are you crying? I was like, yes. But it was the first anime I had completed, from front to back, watching weekly ever. And I just, it's just so good. Besides the trauma,
right. I mean, that was one of the first manga that I read all the way through.
Okay.
I bought them all and I read them all. Oran was the first, and then it was Fruits Baskets.
Okay.
And because at that time the remake was only just starting, and I was like, "Ooh, I should read that." And here I am on the light rail, coming home from work in my flight attendant gear, all my suitcases and everything, and I'm reading the part about Toru's mom and Kyo.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting here in tears. And I'm like, this is quite a scene. If somebody who doesn't know what's going on just looks from the outside, here's this person just all in purple, flight attendant gear with bags, with this manga open, just crying. Yeah. It's really good.
It is really good. The amount of people I've gotten to watch Fruits Basket, because I'm just like, just watch it, please. Please just, it's so good. It's just, I got one of my friends who's just shonen and only watches shonen, and now we're sitting you down and watching Fruits Basket, and he loved it, and I was like,
yep,
maybe
because it's a cohesive
listen.
story. It's not just about romance. It's not just about the love triangle or the little drama things. It is a cohesive, really strong, really emotionally driven story.
Yeah. And the comedy is good in it too.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
The musical beat that plays every silly moment, the do 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 do, gets me every time. Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh, it's just so good. Oh my goodness.
I do love it. I do love it. It's good.
Yes.
If you want another good cry, though, one of my favorite anime movies,
Oh.
which I feel like is severely underrated, and this one surprised me because they had it on the plane movie selection.
Okay.
And I was on my way to Anchorage, Alaska, and I was like, I got a long trip. I'm going to watch this. My mistake. I cried on the plane real bad.
Uh-oh.
Is called Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms.
Okay. What's that?
So good. It's so good. And the dub is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah?
And it's just, during the height of the pandemic, I made my D&D crew watch it. We're like, we're going to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
And I bought it so we could stream it. And of course, at the beginning, before we start the movie, everyone's like, "Ah, this is great, good to see everybody." And at the end, we all unmute. We're all... and then one person goes, "I hate you."
So what is it about?
It's about this girl who gets separated from her people. They're people who live. They're considered immortal because of how long they live.
Mm-hmm.
And this kingdom wants this immortality for themselves, so they raid this last village of these people to take a bride to hopefully have their heir be partially immortal. And so they ravage this village. This girl is able to escape, and she learns what it means to love someone, but not in a romantic sense, in a motherly sense. And the joys and the pain that causes. It's very much like the same kind of trope of, elven kind living long. So those who have watched Free Ren,
Yes.
right? You know, it's that my life is so long that everything seems so short, and you live that through her. And it's just, she adopts an orphan boy who she finds along this camp as she's like about to end her life, because she's like, I have nothing to live for. Everything is gone. I don't know what to do. And she hears this baby cry, and she goes, and there was this camp that someone had like pillaged and just killed everyone in this camp except for this baby who is still clutched in this mother's arms. And so she has to pry this child from her dead body, and she decides to raise this kid. And like, she finds out what it means to love someone, because they're like, someone who had raised her was like, don't ever love someone. Like, it's one of the worst things, the best things you can do, because it'll only bring you pain. And so she's like, I don't care, I'm going to raise this kid. And so you go through this life of her raising him from like a child to an adult. And, it's a chosen family because they do not look alike. They, and she doesn't age. So he gets older and she stays the same. Oh. So there's this dynamic switch, and there's a lot of political tension that goes through, and it's so good. It's so good.
You watched that on a plane?
I did. I didn't know what it was about. I was just like, an anime movie, let's watch it. And I bawled my eyes out on several occasions during the movie, and I'm like, why did I do this? I'm glad I did, but why did I do this? It is amazing, and the performances by the dub actors are phenomenal. It is. So if you need a good cry, or you're a little unstable in your life right now and you want to cry but not about your life, you want to cry about someone else's, oh my god, it's in the same vein of like Violet Evergarden.
Okay.
It's heavy in the emotional department, but you get done and you're like, wow, my life is better after experiencing that. It's it's so good. It's so good. I need to watch it again soon. But it's like, do I put myself through that pain again?
Yeah. Well, it's like I've seen Grave of the Fireflies once, and I will not see it again. I don't want to go through that again.
I mean, I love it, but that
movie.
Is child's play
Yes.
in comparison.
It is. God. Oh boy.
You think you were done with it, and then it sucker punches you again, and you're like,
great.
no, my heart.
Oh God.
So, content warning.
Yeah.
You will cry. Bring tissues.
So before we go, so what is one of the dream franchises you would love to voice in, if given the chance?
If given the chance. I don't know. I'm a little torn, because I've had this question asked before. Because so many of the roles or the shows that I was not expecting have been some of my favorite. So, like, I'm in Love with the Villainous, for instance.
Yeah.
Didn't know a single thing about it before I was cast.
Yeah.
And it is, to date, one of my favorites. still have a hard time saying I want to be in this because I think what I want versus what I need are two very different things.
True.
But in a very nostalgia-esque or like, man, this would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's ending soon, but My Hero Academia would be a lot of fun. I am a Deku stan. Y'all can get mad at me, but I relate, okay? Like, there you go. Yep. Like, I relate to the dumb boy who just wants to do good, okay? Yep. Like, some of y'all may see yourselves as Bakugo, and I think you need a little bit of help, personally.
You need therapy.
That's cool. That's great. And Bakugo is a great character that has some great character growth.
Yeah.
But, he's got a lot of anger issues, so just, like...
Please stop screaming at me.
Please, tread carefully.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Deku is perfect either. Yeah. It's one of those things where you see yourselves in certain characters, and Deku is one of those for me. I'm the most Capricorn that ever Capricorn, so I'm very driven. I'm very like, I'm gonna do this thing, and one day I'm gonna be Hokage. Like, it's just that is me. So My Hero would be super cool. I'd love to play in the world of One Piece some more. I mean, selfishly because A, it's One Piece, but B, Emily Fajardo is the one directing it now, and I love her, and I'd love to work with her again.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just great. But there are so many good things coming out, and there will always be another really cool thing that I wouldn't have known about previously. You know what? No, I take that back. There is one that I would love to be a part of, and I would give anything just to audition. I have been reading the manga for Witch Hat Atelier.
Okay. Was not expecting that one.
I love this series. It is so good.
Yeah.
And we are finally getting news about the anime adaptation.
Finally.
For those, I don't know when this is coming out, but Anime Expo in LA is finally releasing information about this show. All we know is it's going to stream on Crunchyroll, which means there is a possibility that I could get an audition for it.
Yeah.
I don't even have to be an I just want to audition, but Coco is a bean, and I love her, and I would kill to be here. Not literally, this is figuratively, but I would... She is amazing, but this world is so fleshed out in our world where so much is saturated by these like wizard magic, like what that means and what this world is.
Yeah.
This is so unique. It's a very rich world, again, kind of like Frieren, where you watch it and you're like, wow, there's so much to this world. It feels really lived in. When I watch it, I feel like I'm a part of this world. It has that same kind of feeling to the world. A lot of the magic is done by drawing patterns, and each symbol is like elements, and how you draw it
that's cool.
will change the way the spell works. And so, if you draw your line a little longer and around, it might change the direction of the spell. Yeah. Or if you, do the spell backwards, it might reverse an effect. And
that's so cool.
It's so thought out and so wonderful. And the artist for this manga, it's like a storybook. It is so pretty.
Yeah.
And the second main arc, which I think is in volume, I want to say it's like 4 and 5-ish, 3, 4, 5-ish area. I was gasping. I was like, oh my god. The darker magic, or like the opposing antagonists of this world, are so creepy and so dark and so wonderfully designed that it is so good. Like, I cannot wait for this to come out, because I think it's one of those that people are going to be surprised by. Like, if you do not already know about the show, you are going to know about this show, because it is just like Frieren, where people are like, oh, okay, like, whatever, it's the show. Beside those who had read the manga are like, oh my god, I'm freaking out. And then it came out and people were like, this is amazing. I think it's going to have the same effect, because it is refreshingly a new perspective on it. It has its own flair. It's got another white-haired, blue-eyed pretty boy, for if you have not already been convinced. a little Gojo-esque.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with it. I love it so much. I would love, love to be a part of that show.
Yeah.
So much. But that is, again, only if I get an audition for that. We don't know if it's going to go to Texas or LA for that. I mean, I assume it's getting dubbed. We don't even know. But I would assume with an IP that big, it would. But I love that series so much. So if you have not checked it out, if you like to read manga, for those of you who are listening and you want something new, I highly recommend it. I think they already have like 14-ish, 11 to 14 volumes out right now in English. So you can like binge to your heart's content for a little while. And it's
good to
I would. And if I get into it, this will be the archive of this will be that moment.
Yeah.
This will be that moment of like, I remember then when I was like, I'd kill to do that. And if I don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
There were, like I said, some of the most unexpected shows are the ones that I need the most. And if I don't get it, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like any job I get is my favorite job.
Yeah.
So, but if I had my choice and I could just be like, hey, can I... It'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of nice. I mean, I'd really like to do that because it means so much to me now that I'd kill for that. It'd be so cool. It'd be so much fun. Go read it. It's a lot of fun. The Witch Hat Atelier. It's it's so good.
I've only heard good things, and I didn't know about the like kind of magic system you were talking about. That is really cool.
Oh, it's so cool. It is so cool.
Oh.
And if you really like kind of the details and you want the lore in between, in the back of the manga, there's like 2 to 3 pages that will explain the creatures. It'll explain the magic. I mean, the creatures in this are designed very similarly. Like it's very Avatar: The Last Airbender-esque, where it's like mixed breeds of things. And the design of it is it's so good. It's so magical. It just feeds my little fantasy heart so much. I love it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely going to check that out now. Cause, yeah, oh no, another manga.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like now I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll read it. I'll read a little bit tonight. Cause I've been done a little bit of catch up on a few of the volumes I have.
And before we go, so what do you have any advice for aspiring actors or voice actors just getting into the kind of realm of that space?
Yes, I have a few things, and I apologize in advance. It's not going to be quick.
All good. All good.
Because this is one of my passions in life.
Yeah.
The biggest, best advice I can give anyone, and this is voiceover or not, it will get you places. I'm going to get a little close to the mic just so, the people in the back can hear. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Be nice, be kind, and be genuine. Because being a dick will get you nowhere fast. And as I mentioned before, there will always be rotten apples in the bunch. And people who don't treat others with kindness and respect will not go anywhere. That's just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So be kind. Everyone is going through something. And just having human decency will get you a long way. Being genuine will get you a long way. Going around trying to quote unquote network, and the first time you meet someone, being like, what's your social? And being very business and treating that interaction as a business transaction is a big no-go.
Yeah.
It's a big no-go. Meet people for people. Make human interactions because A, you get to know about really cool people that way, and B, people will remember you for the experience of being human. We are actors. We are here to act the human experience. If you do not live the human experience, how are you able to portray that? If you are not human, take classes. Voice acting is, as the great Rob Paulson says, it is little v, capital A. It is all about acting.
Yeah.
It is not about how many voices you can do. It is not about having the best anime voice in the world. It is about acting. And more times, a lot of this industry is focusing on grounded reads about real acting. It is less and less cartoony and more real. So the more acting training you can get, the better you will be. You know, if you don't live in a really big city, do community theater. Take acting classes. You know, there are a lot of voice acting classes online you can take, but there is nothing better than getting your core acting in because it will take you far. Improv is incredible. The Ray Taylor stuff, a lot of that was my improv. I love improv, and being able to come up with stuff on the fly will get you many places because you won't be surprised and you won't freeze. Not only that, it's really fun. Start out small. You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get started. You really don't. You know, get a basic mic and just treat your space. Go right into your closet, stick that microphone right into your clothing on the rack, and there you go. Like, I started out with a Yeti snowball.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, like just a little guy.
Yeah.
And work your way up, because if you are neurodivergent, which a lot of people in this industry are, make sure that it's something you enjoy. Because as, you know, time progresses, if you spend all this money and then you find out you don't enjoy it, well, now you're out a bunch of money and you're probably going to be pretty angry about it. So it's okay to start small. If you know it's something you enjoy and you're starting to book things like little things like any animation projects or like fan dubs or something along those lines, and you're like, okay, this is something I'm really enjoying, then start to upgrade, then start to move up. And, you know, there's a lot of learning curve that you can get within that. But start small. Make sure you love it. And if you don't do it. Because as much as you see on social media and you see in all the spaces of like cast announcements and con announcements and going here and there, and it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where it is really hard and it's not consistent. I am in a place where if it weren't for Laid Back Camp, I probably would not be in the studio and would not be there very often for about 6 months. For 2 seasons, I've not really been booked. And it's nothing... I try to tell myself it's not me. It's not because I'm terrible or anything. That's just the way this business goes. You know, it ebbs and it flows, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be very sure that it's not about the money, that you're doing it because you love it. And that will get you places, because when it gets hard, and it will get hard, you know you're in it for the love of it. You know, I've seen a lot of people, because it's very publicized now, and you know, people want to be able to go to conventions because that's a big thing. If you're in it just for that, we can tell. We can tell, and that will not get you very far. So make sure you love it. Take acting, start small, make sure it's something you enjoy, and then reach out from there. And you never know when people you work with when you're small will be those next people in those big projects, and they will remember you. So treat everybody with kindness. You know, people are human. Just have fun. Like, I still have a day job, and because voice acting doesn't always pay the bills because I'm not there yet, and that's okay. And some people will never be there, and some people do it more as a hobby than a career, and there is nothing wrong with that. Do it because you love it, and you'll get places. It is not a race. It is a marathon. So find the love and go from there.
Oh, that was so lovely. Oh, my God.
And don't be a dick.
And don't be a dick. So I recently did a panel on podcasting, like 101 for beginners, all that fun stuff. And I brought up that, like you said, your first mic was a Yeti Snowball. My first mic using for podcasting was a Rock Band mic.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. Because, you know, that's all I had. And yeah, it's God, that was such lovely advice. Goodness.
Back in the day. And nowadays microphones are like, you can get way better for so much cheaper.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there, because all the streaming stuff can kind of cross over into voiceover. I have like a Shure 7 MB.
Yeah.
And it is, you don't even have to treat your space super well because of how well it kind of cuts that out. And like, guys, you have so much at your fingertips with all that Google and stuff, or as they say in Laid Back Camp, glue.
Glue, yeah.
Let's look it up on glue maps.
But yeah, it's like this mic here was like $50. Like, and it works. Like, as long as it sounds okay, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a $1,200 mic
No.
to book jobs.
No.
Because if you're bad at acting, all that mic is going to do is amplify the fact that you're terrible at acting. Like, it will not hide your bad acting. It will just make it very apparent. So, like, put money towards classes, not the equipment first.
Yeah.
So let that gradually become a thing. And then it becomes exciting when you can upgrade. You're like, oh my God, I'm getting my first upgrade on my microphone. And then there's all these other tech things that you have to learn about afterwards. Like, I've learned so much more about audio engineering than I ever thought I would because of having to make sure my setup works. Because I'd get a new thing or new equipment, and then I'd be like, why doesn't this work anymore? What is going on? Or wait, now I need an interface. What's that? How do I use that? What do I do? So okay to start small.
Yeah.
Please start small because you gotta love it. You gotta love it in any way. I mean, podcasting as well, or streaming even. Like, don't dump a lot of money into something you don't know is going to pay off. Make sure you do it because you love it first.
Yeah. Totally. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. This was a lot of fun. Thank you all who are listening who put up with my man voice as I deal with a lot of Texas allergies.
So where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on every platform-ish. Except for TikTok. At my first and last name, so Hannah, last name Alyea. I'm most active on Twitter. Not X, it is Twitter. It's still Twitter,
right.
will always
Correct.
be Twitter.
Yep.
That's where I usually update the most about voiceover. More of my personal everyday life is on Instagram, not by posts, but by stories because I'm lazy. I'm a very extroverted person and I don't like social media very much. But I'm most active on Twitter. But you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Facebook is mostly just for friends and families, though if I don't accept your requests, do not get hurt. I keep that a little more personal. And it's okay because I don't post stuff there anyway, so don't.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to go there. That's it. Anything, just search my name. Hannah with an extra H on the end. It's a palindrome like Taco Cat or Race Car. So HANNAH, and the last name's ALYEA. Too many vowels, not enough consonants. It's French. Don't come at me.
Perfect. So yeah, go follow them. You can follow me at Corky Cosplays on Instagram, Adam Corky everywhere else, and subscribe to the Patreon. Helps the show run. And yeah,
Support.
Yeah,
Hit
support.
like and subscribe.
Please.
And stuff.
And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Oh, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.